Hello. Welcome to tonight's State of the Schools address. My name is Anthony Pignacharo. I'm a senior in this year's graduating class. Please join me in rise in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I would now like to kick off the night by allowing our award-winning Revere band to play. So for some opening remarks, I would like to introduce Mrs. Claudia Hauer, the Revere President of the Board of Education.
I'd like to thank the Revere High School Concert Band, Mr. Darren LeBeau, for a wonderful performance tonight. Let's give him another round of applause. Good evening. Thank you for coming tonight and taking time to attend this State of Schools address. Also, thank you for your continuous support of our schools. The success of a school district is largely dependent on a strong partnership between the community and the schools. The 2016-17 school year has been exciting, busy, and very productive for Revere schools. In November, the Revere community demonstrated its desire for new facilities by passing a bond issue by a large margin. Since then, the school board has hired an architectural team and construction manager at risk to perform the duties to create and construct 2 new schools, a bus garage, and partial renovations to Hillcrest and Revere Middle School. Committees of stakeholders have visited many other school districts to gather ideas for our new buildings. 2 committees consisting of staff, students, and community members are working tirelessly to develop the vision for a new Bath School and Revere High School. Stability and leadership is essential to continue our trend of progress within the district. To achieve that, in March, the Revere Board of Education showed great confidence in our superintendent by unanimously voting to extend Mr. Montgomery's contract through the 2021-22 school year. Tonight, you will hear much more about Revere Schools is doing both academically and beyond to ensure students are ready for their futures. Thank you again for your attendance and the role you play in the success of our students.
So before Mr. Montgomery begins, I would like to talk a little bit about how I got to know him. I first met Mr. Montgomery at the superintendent interview, and the first thing I noticed about him right away were his socks. He was wearing red, white, and blue socks, and from that very moment, I knew that Mr. Montgomery would fit in great here at Revere. As Mr. Montgomery's stay here progressed, I got to know him through the Building Vision Committee for the new high school, as well as the Superintendent Think Tank, where students come together and present concerns and issues for him to know. Throughout his stay here so far, Mr. Montgomery has brought together the voices of parents, teachers, administrators, students, and other community members. He has made great strides to make sure Revere becomes an even better place than it already is. So therefore, it is my great honor to introduce Mr. Matthew Montgomery, your superintendent.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here. We're going to get the projector, and there it is. How about that? Thank you, Mr. LeBeau. So let me start by saying a huge thank you to Anthony and his partnership tonight. I think he really embodies everything that is potential for our students, and I couldn't be prouder of him, and I'm truly sorry to see him go. He has kept me in the loop with things and is a valued member of the Revere students, and I am deeply proud of him and thank him for being here. Mrs. Hauer, thank you, and to the board members, and finally to Mr. LeBeau, who graciously turned on that projector for us and did a wonderful job with the band tonight. I hope you can tell what an asset he is to the district, and the strong music program that we have is largely due to his success and his devotion to the district. Tonight I'm going to be talking about numerous topics, and we are going to try to celebrate everything that we've accomplished over the last year and let you know about where we're headed for the future. The mission of this district has really been the focus of, our North Star of what we're all about. And I will tell you that we have had to really reflect on what that mission is and what it will be for the future, largely due to the candid discussions that we've been having around the new building project. So when you read the mission behind us and we talk about a learning environment that empowers students to achieve their personal best, we are really exploring what does that mean in terms of a learning environment. And later this evening, I'm going to talk a little bit about where we are with those plans and how I believe those plans will shape the future for students to come for 50 plus years. That being said, I want to talk very quickly about some student data about where we are in different buildings, just to show you progress monitoring of how many students we have in each building and the demographics of the district. Our elementary school is Hillcrest, grades K through 3. Enrollment in Hillcrest is 738. It is really a full building. And the building project, thankfully, allows for grade 3 to be moved to the new intermediate building, but that should, the addition of that grade level in the new building should really help free up some space, and I know Mrs. Hussing and Mrs. Gully will be thrilled to have those extra classrooms so we can spread out and really have an environment that supports our students. Bath Elementary is currently 4 and 5, and the enrollment is 407. As I said, in the new buildings, grade 3 will come to Bath Elementary. We also have a preschool in Bath, which houses 42 students. That number is increasing. It is an integrated preschool, and my own son goes to the preschool. I couldn't be prouder of what we're doing. Next year, the district will have both of my little ones in the preschool, and good luck to them. I congratulate them and worry at the same time. They're both going to be in the same classroom. So I'm excited, and I couldn't be happier of the education they're receiving at that preschool. The new building plan allows for the preschool to move from Bath to Hillcrest. So while third grade will move over to the new Bath, preschool will move to Hillcrest, which I think is a more appropriate placement for those little folks. The middle school is grade 6 through 8, enrollment 650. That building will stay at that grade band, or those grade bands, for the new construction. Lastly, the high school, grades 9 through 12, also will stay the same, and its current enrollment is 837 students. So when you look at a cross-section of our enrollment, for this school year, we are at 2,674 students, and that is slightly down from last year. You have small fluctuations from year to year, but I want you to pay attention to the very small populations that we have in the terms of economically disadvantaged and students with disability. Economically disadvantaged is hovering around 4% this year, and students with disabilities is around 9%. So low numbers for both of those populations, and you can see the diversity listed beneath that for the enrollment data. In terms of staff, we have 338 staff members. 220 of them are certified staff, 118 are non-certified, and of those staff members, 151 of them have a master's degree or master's plus or beyond the master's degree, which really shows you the level of qualifications that your students are the benefit of having those advanced degrees and how they impact the instructional practices that we're able to provide your students. I wanted to start out with finances because I believe that that is something that is truly important to the community and something that I know Mr. Forrest and I really made a main focus for us, because we believe to be good fiscal stewards of taxpayer dollars, this has to be on our radar and has to be something that we truly devote our time and energy to. Exciting things have happened in the world of finances for us this year, and a lot of it has happened in the within the last 2 to 4 weeks. There's been a lot of items that have come out of the Treasurer's office. We recently paid off the 1995 wing of the high school. That bond became paid in full, and what that means for us is that we had to reapply for our bond rating because all of our debt was paid off. It's a good problem to have, but it also is a tedious process to go through the Moody's rate review to determine if our rating will stay at the high level that has been, so it kind of exposes us to see if we are still at that same high level. I'm happy to report that we have maintained that same level, which is a AA1 status. What that means is that we are the second highest status of any distinction. The highest is AAA1. And we were currently AA1 previously, and I couldn't be prouder of Mr. Forrest's work to ensure that we stayed at that high level. And I believe we achieved that level for a couple reasons. So one of them is that we have high property values. And I think that that is something that truly is something that benefits us as a district, and we have a low debt ratio for the district. The combination of high property values and lower debt helps us, as well as great fiscal management. And that means that we've maintained a strong operating balance or reserves from one year to the next, which increases the favorability when we are going through the rating process. Lastly, the demographics of the community, largely being professionals, increased the stability and increased the appeal to the raters to determine what distinction we would arrive at. To build off of that good news, just this past month, we learned that Mr. Forrest was issued the Auditor of State Award, and this is the 4th consecutive year that the district has received that honor, and Mr. Forrest continues to wow us with his dedication to the district, and we're truly grateful to have him. And I'm just going to take this moment. He's not going to want me to do this, but I think that I would be remiss if I didn't say how sorry we are to see him retire at the end of this school year. And his 17 years of service are unparalleled, and I would like to take a moment just to give him a round of applause. I want to talk very quickly on public policy. It's not an exciting topic, but it's something that we need to be aware of. And it doesn't matter where you land on the political spectrum, to be in the know or to be aware of what's happening from the political landscape and how it impacts the school district is important information. So a couple of things that are happening right now are, at the federal level, they recently passed ESSA. So this plan at the federal level, is revamping No Child Left Behind. And the federal level has lessened the standards in which states can implement testing regulations and other ramifications that were much more stringent in the previous plan. The idea is to give more autonomy at the state level. Our state was ready to submit the ESSA plan in April. Each state has to submit its own. We've postponed that. And the reason behind that is the state superintendent felt as if the draft plan was not matching the opinion of the stakeholder interviews that were conducted across the state. And I was proud of this because when I initially read the plan, there was not an alignment between what I was hearing coming out of those stakeholder interviews and what was actually drafted in the Ohio's plan. The main difference is that Ohio meets or exceeds the requirements in the federal policy. And there wasn't a lessening of our requirements at the state level in the draft plan. So postponing that until a September release is a good thing. That means that they went back to the drawing board. And I will applaud them for their acknowledgement that there wasn't an alignment of the draft and what they heard, and their willingness to look at it again is a good thing for us and for our students. The governor's biennium budget is on the horizon. I don't even like to talk about it at this time because it's going to change so many times until it's finalized. But I will tell you the latest draft shows a $400 million cut in both years of the biennium budget, and that will impact everything across the board. Education is no exception. So we are watching that very closely to see how it will impact us as a district. Lastly, there is a movement for vouchers right now, and the legislation has been introduced, but there hasn't been much traction. But school choice is something that is on the horizon. I view this as a good thing for school choice, but I also view it as reinforcement that we need to be innovative in our education that we're offering in Revere, so people want to be here, stay here, and to be attracted to the district. So I think we need to be mindful that there's over 600 public schools in Ohio and many private schools, and if we're not continually reevaluating that we are ensuring the best level of instruction for our students, we are not doing our very best. So that just keeps me grounded to know that we need to be in a continual state of improvement while still staying true to ourselves and our vision for the district. I want to talk very quickly to let you know that we did have good news with the assessed value for the district. It increased 2.5%, and our new assessed value is $930 million for the district. And I think it went from $907 million to $930 million. That is good news for us. And that is due to new growth, construction, and then reappraisal. We still have one of the lowest effective millages in Summit County, even with the passage of the bond, which we continue to be proud of. And then due to our high rating and the competitiveness of the bond sale for the bond referendum, we were able to, the overall cost came under the projected rate, and the term was reduced by 1 year. So for the loan of the bond, because of the overall cost coming lower than we anticipated, that means that the debt repayment will be 1 year less than what we thought it would be. The district doesn't receive any extra money. That's extra money as for you in your pockets as taxpayers, because you will not be assessed that value on the last year of the bond referendum, which as a taxpayer myself, I think is a very good thing. This is what we're all about. So we created the strategic plan last school year. This was a labor-intensive process. We involved many stakeholders, and it gave us the parameters and the direction of where we wanted to head as a district. Those items behind you are how we gauge any new initiative that we're working on or continue to work on. It is a value document that is living and breathing, and it is not collecting dust somewhere in a trifold. It is something that I promise you that our executive staff, building leaders, and teachers use on a daily basis to determine if we are headed in the right direction. And we vet that. So if somebody comes to a central office with a new idea, my expectation in my office or anybody else's is that we are going to compare that new initiative with how it aligns to those items. Because this is what the community said was important to us, and the goals within each one of those sections really gives us the ability to monitor where we're headed. So I'm going to talk largely tonight about how we're exemplifying those items on that strategic plan. The first one is communications. Folks, we have been trying to up our communications, and thankfully with bond referendums, people pay attention a little bit more, but I will tell you that we need you to be at the table talking with us to get your feedback, because you are our collaborators, you are who we serve, and making sure that you know what's going on in the district is important for you to know our story and for us to ensure that we're headed in the right way. Here are some of the items that we use to try to improve our communications. This is an evolving process, and we are always looking for new ways to reach our stakeholders. This is bigger. Communications is bigger than just those items. It's about telling our story out and about. For example, in November, we had members from the teaching staff and central office present at the Ohio School Boards Association. It's the yearly school boards meeting, and it's a state conference. So we had two different presentations happening. One was on our suicide prevention protocol, and Dr. Kovac led that presentation and helped partner with other districts to tell them how we are implementing different suicide prevention protocols in the district, and then help hopefully support other districts. And we had a great response to that presentation, and many districts have reached out to us to try to get our protocol and to get support about what we're doing. Another presentation this fall was Mr. McKinnon also presented, who is our new athletic director, on sportsmanship. And he is actually, because of that presentation, visiting another district tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow, Crooksville Exempted Village. And he is presenting to their athletic department about what we are doing here at Revere to promote good sportsmanship. And that was a precipitate of those statewide presentations. So when I say communication, it is bigger than just us reaching you. It's us sharing our story out and about to make sure people know all the great things that we're working on. I'm going to hit some big initiatives that we have been working on that are aligned to the strategic plan. For the past 2 years, we've been working on curriculum mapping. I've said it numerous times, curriculum mapping is the vertical and horizontal alignment of curriculum. And in layman's terms, that means that the grade levels, so if you have a second grade team, each second grade teacher has the same beginning point and ending point, and they're in agreement of the curriculum that's being presented. And then the second grade teachers know what the first grade students are coming to them with, and the third grade, and they know what they need to provide to make the third grade teachers successful. So it shouldn't matter which teacher my second grade daughter gets out of the 9. They should all start and stop at the same spot. Each teacher has their own identity, their own style, their own ability to meet the needs of their individual students. But curriculum mapping is extremely important because it shows us what the Revere curriculum is. And it's a way to communicate from the previous slide. And that means that those maps that we have created over the last 2 years will be posted this coming June on the website so parents can see what curriculum is being taught in Revere, which grade levels and which subject matter. We think that's really important that you are exposed to what we are trying to expose the students to and the mastery that we are trying to achieve. Along the curriculum initiatives, we're also doing a multi-year study, I'm going to say right now, on homework. It's a homework committee, and it is made up of teachers. And I will tell you that if you want to get teachers talking and share widely different opinions, start talking about homework. It is the same thing that happens when you talk to parents about homework. There are lots of different ideas around it, and this homework committee was created because we at the central office level were hearing varying opinions of different ideas of what homework should be, what could be, what is and what isn't. So I felt as if with Mrs. Nolan, it would be beneficial if we got some teachers together across the grade levels to have a candid discussion about what does Revere believe and focus on in terms of homework, and can we arrive at some consensus? And that doesn't mean that there's the same level of consensus for a senior as a kindergarten teacher. That means that there are grade bands that kind of see when you're in Hillcrest, you should expect this level of homework. When you're at Bath, this level, middle school and high school. And when you get up to the middle school and high school, it may be by subject matter. So the math level of homework might look different than that of language arts or science and social studies. That homework committee is meeting, and it is made up of, how many people, Mrs. Nolan, do you think? 25 to 30, depends on the time the meeting and who's available at the time. But I will tell you that I'm excited about this committee, and we are surveying the staff, analyzing the use of homework, and we're actually looking at research to determine whatever we arrive at, we want our decision to be backed in research. So it should be the teacher's professional viewpoints and then aligned to the research, the best practice and research for education. We are also focusing this school year on writing, and that is for grades K through 8. And we began the study of writing to really move from assign and assess to teaching writing strategies. We want our students to know how to write when they progress through the grade levels, and also when they go on to college and beyond. And we began to study writing across the content areas. So how do scientists, historians, and mathematicians use writing in their own work, and to build on our current practices and move them to the next level. And this movement right here, the things I'm talking about, are largely coming out of Mrs. Nolan's office and her hard work. And I will tell you that she never tires, and I couldn't be happier to have her on board with us, because she is truly helping the teachers develop that partnership between them and take us to the next level. Another one of the major initiatives in the strategic plan is technology. We developed a district technology plan. And that district technology plan is 2 years, and we are in the first year of the implementation. And we've been focusing on many topics. One of the hot button issues is data privacy and security. As a parent, this makes me a little nervous with how different entities are mining our students' data. So we are really exploring ways to protect student data, and the use of free apps is a great example of how our student data is accessible and vulnerable. So we are investing in different protocols and adopting different policies and procedures from best practices in different states that are a little farther than us, than Ohio. Connecticut is paving the way right now, and Dr. Kovach's research has found that if they already have a developed plan and protocol to do an analysis on safety of data, and we will be implementing that full scale next school year to increase and protect our students' data. With the technology plan, it's no secret that there's been a lot of commotion around going to one-to-one. That's a good thing. Commotion is a negative, but I promise you it's a good thing. The whole year has been, the first half of the year was engulfed in this project. So I hope you know by now that students grades 7 through 12 have a MacBook one-to-one, and grades K through 6 either have iPads or Chromebooks. And this initiative has been transformative, and we are really in a situation where we are trying to take instruction to the next level with the support of technology. So let's look at some quotes from some teachers to look at how they believe technology has changed the way they are able to instruct. This is Dan Mosier, who is a high school teacher in Bath, a high school math teacher. The One-to-One MacBook Initiative has helped transform the way in which I deliver math instruction and assess student learning. Overall student engagement and understanding have increased as a result of the various programs I'm able to use with the technology. To build on that, to show you that it doesn't matter which device they're using, one-to-one is independent of device. It's how we're able to increase the opportunities that we're offering our students. This is Kim Keating, and Kim Keating is a 5th grade math and science teacher, and here's what she had to say about the Chromebook initiative. Being able to rely on instant access to technology for my entire class has been a game changer. I no longer have to modify lesson plan ideas due to unavailable devices. I can truly blend my classroom on a daily basis, which has been so beneficial for my 21st century learners. So I wanted to show you that the teachers, based on varying level of comfortability with technology, because there is a continuum, are trying to experiment with technology and embrace new initiatives, and they're able to open the door on things that they weren't able to expose students to without this initiative. So I am happy of the progress we've made this year and excited about where we're headed for the future. We've focused an awful lot in the strategic plan around STEAM, and some of the initiatives that we have hit on this year are on the screen right now. STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, all of which are important to this district. So you'll see some of the things that we've been working on. We have Project Lead the Way all the way down to Bath, and that's going on Bath Middle School and High School, the Project Lead the Way curriculum. We have the Makerspace, which is newly adopted in Hillcrest. That program is doing great work already. Actually, we have Joyce Pushback, Shannon Davey, Julie Gully presenting at the ITSE conference, the national conference over the summer, about their work with the Makerspace to try to promote and educate about our experience and help others who are ready to start this journey. We have the Bloodhound Project at Bath, which is Suede Lock. out of Hudson City Schools and Revere are partnering together. It's to build a rocket, so you'll have Bath students building rockets in May, and Mr. Fry is giddy with excitement about these rockets. I promise you, he is ready to build rockets and test them. We have drones being built at the middle school, students actually building drones and flying them. In terms of the arts, folks, you can see the product of the band that you heard at the start of this presentation and the quality that we're able to offer students. But if you walk down the hallway after this, or if you've been there before, you can see the celebration of arts that's underway. I was able to do a superintendent selection and present awards yesterday, and I will tell you that I'm in awe of the talent that we have in this district, not only from an instructional standpoint, but what the students are able to produce. It was a selfish dad story. My second grader also got her art featured, and I was snapping pictures, and people were laughing at me because I was excited that my baby girl was featured. So I was that dad. And I got home and I told Jacqueline that her art was presented, and she goes, "Really?" Like, she was like, "Really? I didn't know that." And I showed her, she goes, "Yeah, that's pretty good." I'm like, "Oh, she's mine." She was excited. So you will see that we are trying to continue to promote the STEAM curriculum, and what I've been focusing on is how does it build on each other? So how does coding, because we've introduced coding in kindergarten, build on its curriculum as they progress through Bath when they're starting the robotics program, middle school when they're building drones, high school when they come back to coding and robotics. How does that continuum fit together and really have a meaningful program that will support the student's future regardless of where they're headed? In other news, this is important to me because I love food. We have changed our food provider for the school year, this school year, and we have partnered with Pasonic Partners, and they have been working tirelessly this school year to implement new food selections, put an online menu available to parents with nutritional information at your fingertips. And I will tell you that in the first time I met with the think tank from the high school, that's what they wanted to tell me about, that the food is getting better. And I will tell you, nutrition is such a key component to students and their learning. So having students wanting to be in the cafeteria, purchasing good quality food that's healthy for them, that they are excited about, is a good thing. It may not seem like a big thing, I promise you it is. And it's something that we care about, and we want our students to be well fed and ready to learn. And Pasonic Partners has helped shape that program, and hopefully we'll continue to improve it in the coming school years. I want to go over some academic highlights and district highlights, but before I do, could the administrators or administrative team please stand and just be recognized? They are truly the leaders in this district, and they do all the work. So can we please give them a round of applause? They have to deal with my crazy ideas, and they have to be brave enough to tell me how to stay calm and stay focused, and they do that for me. And what I share is a product of their hard work. So that's why it's important that they're recognized tonight, because the administrators and the teachers are really what shapes our district, and our students are lucky to have them serving them. Some of the highlights that I want to go over are just from a global standpoint. So Revere High School has 16 AP courses. We just found out, I think today or yesterday, that 2 high school students received perfect ACT scores, which is phenomenal. This fall, we found out that we have 5 National Merit finalists, which is comparable to any public or private school in the area. So we are as good, if not better, than our competitors, which shows you the level of students that we are proudly serving. 70 students were inducted in the National Honor Society, and if you go down the hallway, like I told you, you will be able to see at least 5 students selected to display artwork in the Governor's Art Exhibition. They were recognized in this month's Board of Education meeting, and the competition to get recognized at this level is quite staggering. The amount of entries that go in at the state level, and for us to have 5 is something to be truly proud of. We are proud of our special education programming. It runs from preschool to grades 12, and we are truly focusing on enhancing, and this is important, students' academic achievement, independence, communication, and social emotional skills for our special education students. We have an independent learning or living program for students with intense needs, and you can see some of the items that we focus on: daily living skills, functional academics, work experience. You will see some of our special education students out in the community, which I think is a great way to help our students and our community for that outreach. And I will tell you that our students become very excited about being out and about, and I think the community is excited to see them partnering with those entities. Gifted services have been really built out this school year, and we have been focusing on what we are able to offer students that are identified gifted. So we expanded the math program, leading to more students taking Algebra 1 at the middle school level. We have established a pathway that permits identified students to take geometry in the 8th grade by the 2019 school year. We have cluster grouped students for enhanced programming. And we have actually increased the days for our gifted service coordinator for next school year, because the board truly sees that this is a need to support our gifted population. So we have a new gifted service coordinator this school year that started. Her name is Terry Sigler. She's phenomenal if you know her. If you don't, if you meet her, she's passionate about gifted education, and the board agreed to increase her days for next school year so she can continue to expand the opportunities for our gifted students. She spent a great deal of time this school year creating written education plans for our gifted students, which is something that is new to our, not new to our district, but something that wasn't widespread for all of the students we serve, and it really allows gifted students to get the individual attention they need to support their learning. The partnership with PTA and CARE is monumental. The PTA involvement has been unparalleled in my opinion, and I couldn't be happier or more grateful in the involvement of our PTAs. And there's been an awful lot of committees that we have started. Too many to count, to tell you the truth, but whenever I ask PTA members if they will serve to help get the parent voice, they are there and ready for us. So whether it's a building committee, a code of excellence committee, a pre-bond committee, a post-bond committee, they are there for us. And they are expanding the programming that we are able to offer our students. So some of them are listed on the screen behind you. One of them this fall was called Breaking Barriers, and that was educating students on opiate risks and heroin. Human trafficking was just a couple months ago, I think last month, and that was especially frightening and yet very important to hear about the risks that students are exposed to in the world of human trafficking. It really is a nationwide concern, and it's something that was a little unnerving to listen, but I'm so happy that I was there and grateful that this programming was offered. In the fall, we had the Dangerous Apps presentation, which is students the students may be exposed to different types of applications, and this was for parents only to try to inform them of apps that may be on phones or devices that could pose a risk to students. And our guidance department and counseling departments for the high school, middle school, Bath and Hillcrest have been instrumental in a lot of the programming that you see, because it's that partnership. So PTA, CARE, counseling, we want to make sure that we are reaching the students' needs on all levels. Cinderella's Closet was huge. That was a new event partnered with Fussy Cleaner, and we gave away a whole lot of dresses. And we gave them away for free. And it was amazing opportunity for students, not just Revere students, to come in and get gently used outfits for prom and it was a great service to be able to give back to the community. Selfishly, as a father of 3 daughters, I thought about coming up and just cleaning house. I didn't care if it was in style when they're in high school, they're wearing it. I didn't. I thought you all would judge me, so I was not there. I did think of it. This Sunday, I will be running, April 30th, this Sunday 5K run. That's for substance abuse and mental health awareness. And I think it starts at 2. Is the fun run before that though? I think fun run is 1 maybe. I think it starts at noon, fun run's at 1, and then 5K starts at 2. And it starts at the high school. So I will be proudly running. Beneath there, I have a couple things that the PTA are also a part of. Farmers Market at Hillcrest, Heritage Day at Bath, Father's Walk at the middle school, and After Prom at the high school. The list could go on forever, but I don't want to underscore the importance of these partnerships because they help shape the level of education we're able to offer our students. I'm going to talk about the band a little bit more because I'm so proud of them. But it was a great year for the band. No joke, folks. So the symphonic band earned superior rating. We did go to Fox 8 in the morning. We got those buses, Mr. LeBeau, and if we have buses, they will travel. They tried to get me on the bus. I said, no, I'm not getting up that early, but I want you to go. And I would tell you, it was awesome to see them on the news, really promoting what we're all about. 5 students were selected for KSU All-Star Honors Winds Symphony, and then the marching band, color guard, and symphonic choir performed in Disney early March. If you were here last week, you saw our Revere players shine in The Music Man, and it was amazing, an amazing show, and I heard from far and wide how wonderful our students did, and that made me extremely proud as the superintendent. More extracurricular highlights. We had 1 national qualifier for our speech and debate team. Our middle school math counts placed 5th at the state tournament. The academic challenge team at the middle school placed 2nd in the regional tournament. The RHS Lantern earned 2nd place overall at a state competition. And the RMS MathCon team received 2nd place in Chicago. The middle school math folks are pretty amazing. And they're doing great work, and we have the students that are benefiting from those opportunities. So rock on, middle school folks. Some sport highlights. It was also a very good year for athletics thus far. So we have 3 teams that received the Suburban League Championships. So volleyball, girls soccer, and girls basketball. This past week, we just received the Sportsmanship Award for the winter sports. Which was an amazing recognition, and I believe probably one of the most important recognitions that you can get, because it really shows what we're all about in athletics, and the way we are behaving on the field is extremely important to us to ensure that good sportsmanship. We've had 4 players of the year for the Suburban League, 3 coaches of the year, 1 state qualifier for swimming, and 9 students have signed letters of intent to play athletics in college. So athletics has really shined this school year. This has been my life. Happily has been my life ever since November. So I want to catch you up to speed on the facilities project. So you should know by now that issue 45 passed in November of this past school year. The Board of Education has been working tirelessly on a couple items that have been very time intensive, and that has been selecting the architects and also selecting the construction managers. So we have all firms selected. Our architects are BSHM out of Youngstown and Perkins and Will out of Chicago. Those firms partnered up for this project. And ICOM was selected as a construction manager at risk. ICON is made up of CT Taylor and Scaparrotti. So you'll notice that both firms are a conglomerate or a partnership for this project. And in my opinion, what I've seen thus far is just many brilliant minds coming to the table around a problem of practice. So it is very interesting to sit in a room with everybody because they have different viewpoints and different lenses. And I'm finding that the product that we're able to create is that much more value engineered, innovative, and I am grateful for their expertise through this process. The visioning committees have been formed and are in place, and we have approximately 80 people across the communities that are working on our visioning process for the new buildings. The plan includes a new high school and a new bath. Mrs. Howard talked about this early on. Partial renovations for the middle school in Hillcrest, new bus garage, work on some fields. It is quite an expansive project. The committees are about 35 to 40 per committee, one for the high school, one for Bath. They started meeting early March, and they've met 2 different times so far. The next meeting is in May, next week, and that's amazing that next week is May already. But we are meeting May 2nd and May 3rd. Each committee meets on separate days. The work of the committee is to determine what goes in the buildings. The pre-bond architects looked at what was getting touched, what wasn't getting touched. They drew a box on a map, but they didn't discuss what was going into it. So, and that's good and bad, folks. The good thing is that some districts will do visioning before the bond referendum passes, or doesn't pass, I should say. And that poses a little bit of a risk that if the bond referendum doesn't pass and you've done all the visioning work, then when you come back and you can actually get that work done, it may or may not be relevant at that time. So we elected to just do an abstract viewpoint and then really get into the nuts and bolts after the bond referendum passed. So right now we are having very candid discussions about what education will look like in Revere over the next 50 years. And those are big discussions to have. And they're exciting discussions to have. And I couldn't be prouder of the people who are giving up their time to have those discussions for me or with me, and trying to find consensus is an amazing and challenging process. And we are taking it one step at a time. I'm going to show you some ideas. Some of you who are on the committee are just smiling at me right now because it has been an experience, I think. Trying to figure out where we're going to land in this process is you have lots of people who are coming together with great ideas, but we have to arrive on one plan. And it's that navigation that is exciting and overwhelming at times. So I'm going to show you some pictures of things that are drafts. They are drafts. I'm going to say it again. They are drafts. They are just ideas. And this plan is changing daily. So I can't stress this enough. So we have been looking at locations of pieces and parts. This is going to look different from the pre-bond drawings. So it's evolving as we speak. Here's what we're thinking for Bath right now. You don't see anything inside of it yet, but you will see that this is Bath Road. This is Cleveland-Maslin Road. Here is the existing building. And what we are thinking right now is an academic wing right behind the existing structure, and then cafeteria, athletics right at this location. You'll see a separate entrance just for bus drop-off. You'll see a parent drop-off and parking location here. The play fields will be behind the structure. We are trying to minimize the amount of dirt that we're moving, because dirt movement costs money. And if you know that site, there is a huge grade change or elevation change from here to here. So we're trying to minimize the amount of dirt that we're moving. And the Bath Committee is a little farther along than the high school. Bath Committee also has a smaller building to deal with and less items to go into the building because it's a grade level building. The high school is evolving even at a faster pace, but it's changing more frequently. There's more pieces and parts. So here is an idea, just an idea. The dotted line is the existing structure. One of the things that you will notice is different is that we are discussing the possibility of maintaining the 95 wing. So the wing that we just paid off that I talked about a little bit earlier, we are looking at options of maintaining the 95 wing within the new structure. So this section right here is a 95 wing. It can become anything. We're interested in the bones of the structure. So if we keep bones, the square footage cost goes down. And we can repurpose it in any way, but it gives us some flexibility and some more options in terms of square footage. And then the new structure is directly adjacent to it. And this is west of the existing structure. So here's the board office, here's the existing high school, and you can see the high school. Academics would be up front, and then a cafeteria, arts, athletics would be towards the back of the property. You would have a separate entrance for buses, and in this plan, the softball and baseball field are not touched or displaced. And if we can maintain those sites, it is a good thing. Parking will be where the existing high school is standing, and then you'll see some more parking along this side. The stadium will be untouched, and that's important. That was a part of the original plan. People are coming forward with ideas and partnerships and different ideas that are really opening Pandora's box of options. So there have been private donors who have been talking about Revere, what would it look like if we sponsored this portion? Or if we took out some of the athletic portions of the building and we sponsored that, what would that do for square footage in the main building? And those are pretty exciting conversations because we have a very supportive community. So when I say this plan is changing or evolving, I truly mean that. It is changing from day to day. Something new happened this morning. That's how quickly information is passing. And I will tell you that the discussions about what's going to be in the space has been, it has been an amazing discussion. We are shooting for transformational learning environments. So learning environments that create opportunities for flexibility for 50 years out in the making. We don't have a crystal ball, folks. But we're trying to design structure that will support how we teach today and yet be flexible enough for how we might teach tomorrow. And that's a big process. I will tell you that I've been talking to business leaders. I met with, we met with the head of Gojo. Joe Camphor is his name. And when I sat down with him last Friday morning at the Richfield Cafe, if you want to see me, folks, every morning at 7 a.m. at the Richfield Cafe, I'm having a meeting with somebody. I promise you I've been there 5 of the last 7 work days because lots of people are excited right now. So when I met with Joe Camphor, he said, Matt, 17 years ago, Gojo completely revamped how we do business. He said, as the chairperson, I no longer have an office. Everything is collaborative. He said, if you're not teaching kids to collaborate, you're doing them an injustice. And he said, I don't let anybody own spaces. He said, the work owns the space. And I thought that was powerful. Yesterday, Mrs. Nolan and I met with leaders in National Interstate out of Richfield. We're sitting in their big boardroom. They're building a new building. They bring out architectural designs for their new building. They're building a new building in between the 2 existing National Interstate buildings. And they said, Matt, the focus is collaboration. And here is the floor plan of how we're recreating our space to support the type of work we're trying to achieve. I talked to another business leader last night who is a community member who said his office is all about collaboration, teamwork, teaming together. He said we have lots of smart people, but if they don't know how to work together, they're not doing their job. People are going on college visits, and colleges are changing. So this is making us think or reevaluate what type of education we're offering, how to maintain our identity, and yet not limit ourselves by the spaces we create. So where is the balance? National Interstate said this yesterday. They said, Matt, we don't want to go to one extreme or the other. We're trying to find the middle of the road, because what if we find ourselves 10 years from now realizing that this was a fad. And I thought that was smart. So how do you find the happy medium? And I will tell you, that's where the heated discussions are in this visioning process. What is Revere's happy medium? How can we maintain our values yet still promote flexibility, because we don't have that crystal ball to see what the future holds for education. We just know the world is changing, and we are standing at the edge of a cliff ready to take a jump with a 50-year commitment. So we are taking great pause to ensure that we are making the best decisions for our students for today and moving forward. I can't tell you what an honor it is, or it has been and continues to be, to serve this district. I'm proud of the work we're doing. I'm excited about the direction in which we're headed for not only my professional life, but also my personal life, because my children are benefiting from the fantastic education that our teachers are providing for our children. So I want to leave you with that gratitude, because I count my blessings every day that I'm able to be a part of this district. And I am truly looking forward to how the buildings will shape the future and how the strategic plan will maintain our focus for what we're all about and where we're headed. At this time, if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer them. Yes? Can you tell me your name? I don't know if I have to.
No, probably not. I'm Erin Venterfox, and thank you for doing this. What's the timeline for the building?
So the timeline is that we are hoping to go out to bid January of next year, so January of 2018, and then construction would start at that point. Traditionally, it's 18 months of planning and 18 months of building, but that is a fluid timeline. So best case, we are moving into the new buildings in the 2019-2020 school year. There has not been a final notice of when we think that will be. That's just the spectrum that we're working off of. You bet. Any other questions about the project or anything else that I presented tonight? Go ahead.
What percentage of the students are gifted, and when do you start testing these children to determine if they are in a gifted program?
Mrs. Nolan, Dr. Kovach.
Ballpark.
As far as the exact percentages, I don't have that information. I know that if we're looking at all areas of identification, we are probably upwards of above 35%, because we have a very, our population is somewhat skewed in terms of more identifications than you might find in other districts. We do screenings where we look at grade level screenings, and we're changing and adjusting the grade level bands that we do those screenings, because the state has changed some of their criteria for next year. So I can't speak of what they're going to be next year. So we do the screenings 3 times, and we do all the grade level bands. And then parents, of course, can request any time if they suspect that their child might be gifted, as well as teachers can refer. A student can even refer themselves for assessment. But we do the grade level screening bands because we feel it's important to get students that maybe don't appear initially that they might be gifted. They might be someone who's more quiet, who doesn't maybe stand out as possibly being gifted, but by the grade level screenings, we're able to identify those students. And we're really excited. Terry Sigler has done an amazing job this year for us, and we're really excited to have her. It also expands our opportunities that we're able to provide for students that might not be identified gifted, but are very, very bright, who benefit from many of the same strategies.
Other questions? Well, I think we'll quit.
Are you collecting committee their input on the district-wide policy?
That's a great question. So parents are clamoring to get on this committee, and I have respectfully said no. I've said no, not at this time. And the reason I've said no is because the teachers are so polarized from one extreme to the other. I won't even let myself sit on the committee because I have too big of a mouth. I don't know if you know that about me, maybe not, but I'm letting you in a little secret. I'm a little opinionated. So I'm not even sitting on the committee right now. I want the teachers to really explore this, and then we can expand out from there. But right now it's that 25 to 30 folks just, and I have representation K-12 or from each building to have this discussion.
And I'm sorry if you've said this in your
You're okay.
but what's the timeline for that? Is there one, or is this simply?
We think it's going to take 2 years. So this year and next year. And we are trying to look for global trends or consensuses around different buildings. So like I said, I want to maintain teacher autonomy, but we're looking for some measurements. So if I send my student to Bath, I can expect this range, middle school and high school, because I think there's many variations of what is best for kids. It's an interesting, like I told you, I will not even let myself sit on it. Mrs. Nolan chases me out. Any other questions? Well, thank you for your time tonight. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great evening.